boat that can't stay afloat.
Okay, so let me give you guys an update on what we've been doing. I put a little bead of the hot glue and I went around all the seams just to make sure everything was nice and smooth. And I also went back and we trimmed the back where the stern is, so it's all nice and smooth, so when we paint it, it'll blend right in. Because this is below the water line, so this part is going to be red. This section is going to be black, and there's going to be a little, almost like the little piece, or the little section like the railing is going to be white on top. So this had a lot of time to solidify, and check it out how heavy it is. This thing he's really solid. So I think what we can do now is we're gonna put the deck on and we're gonna close in the little section at the bow. So I did a couple of decks. I try to do it the symmetrical way, but he's really not symmetrical because everything is freehand. So we're gonna put this on and this is gonna fit into place. And I trimmed the bulkheads just a little bit, just to be able to get everything to fit. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that, get it into position, I want that little bit of, it's probably about 1/4 of an inch that goes all the way around. And the purpose of that is because of the hand railing along the deck. So what I did was I went and I trimmed just a little bit off of the bulkheads, just so we would have some, I mean, we can't trim too much because this is going to be supporting the deck, but this is going to go in just like that. And we're going to push it down up against the support. So we have the, like I said, the 1/4 of an inch going all the way around, and we're going to close this in. So let's think about going ahead and gluing it into place. We want to make sure everything is clean. Make sure there are no clumps of glue in the area. Maybe we should go ahead and put a section in the stern. Just a little piece, just for support. I can go right about there, so let's trim it down a bit. So we'll put it right about there. And that's going to help support the deck in the back. Alright, that looks good. And I want to make it about the same height as we did for the other side. There. See, this is going to be, we got the bulkheads and we have the sides, but now we have a little section on the stern just in case it goes down, it'll be supported in the back. Alright, so I think we can go ahead and think about gluing on the deck now. And once we glue the deck on, we'll actually close him in. I just want to make sure everything is fit into place. So this will go on like this. I don't want to keep cutting. Then we kind of push the sides in and kind of form fit. And I have this piece here so we can kind of close in that section over there. All right, now we're gonna move back a little bit, and what I'm gonna want to do is I'm gonna want to push the sides in. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna push the sides in. And I'm going to move just a little bit more, going down midship. So let's work our way aft now. Alright, so we're going to wait for all this to get solid, and when it's hard, we're going to trim it down. It's the beauty of the glue. We can just kind of shave it down to make it look a little cleaner. So while we wait for that, I think I want to do, we're going to close in the structure now at his bow. So we're going to put some glue, a little bit of glue going around the edge. And we're going to put the I'm going to hold that for a couple of minutes. Let that get nice and solid, and this will have closed in that structure. Seems to be pretty good. And just like that, it'll be closed in. So I want to make sure that there are no gaps. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of put a bead of glue. Starting to look good. Now we'll let that solidify, and when that's dry and hard, we'll just trim it with the knife, kind of like we did for the stern. Let's see, there's a little area, and when the glue gets nice and hot, I like to just kind of let it ooze in, and it kind of fills in all these little gaps. This stuff really is great for everything. See, what that's going to do, as it solidifies, when it's really hot, it just kind of goes in and it kind of fills in all the little crevices and the gaps. When you look at it from the side, we can just, if there's any bulge, we'll just trim it with the razor. So I want to close in this area under the bow. So we're going to put some cardboard in there, and what I want to do is we're going to trim it off. And that way they will have a little something to build the glue off of. And do the same thing for the other side. See how we have something now, and we can actually fill this in. And when the glue's hard, then we just can we can just trim it. It'll be nice and smooth. That's what's good about doing this, is when the glue is absolutely very, very, very hot. And we just even it out. And add a little bit more. We'll bring it down in front of the fan and let it solidify. And the beauty of this is we can keep adding. So when that's solid, we can put a little bit more, and it'll bring it up and it'll be all set. Okay, so the deck, like I had said, we're going to trim all this down, just like we did with the stern, to get them nice and smooth. But in the meantime, let's start thinking about his pilot house, or his wheelhouse. See, because there's not a lot of deck showing. The boat, the rear boathouse goes almost all the way to the stern, and the wheelhouse comes pretty much all the way forward to right about here, and there's not a lot of deck showing. And it's pretty large. There's not a lot on either side, so it's going to be pretty big. So I'm thinking, let's see, where's my marker? I figure we can put the deck house, there's just about that much deck showing. So we can, right about there. And the same thing with the sides, there's not a lot of deck. So we can kind of put it here. And here. So his smokestack will be about, just about a little past midship with the other boathouse. So just about halfway. We'll put it right about here. So this is going to be his wheelhouse. And the thing about his wheelhouse is he's got it angled kind of backwards. So let's see if we have any. This might be good for his wheelhouse, because that would be just about perfect. So let's see if we got another one of those. 2 of those. And we'll do the same thing. We'll glue these together, and that'll be like a solid piece, and we'll form that for his roof and for his windshield in front. Alright, so I figure we're going to need, this looks about almost perfect for what we need. So right about, we'll put it right about here, because don't forget, we're going to angle it. So right about there, we'll angle it. He'll come, the windshield will come down. So I think 45 will be too much, because it's slight. It's not that much. This is port, and let's see, starboard. Put him aside for a minute. When it comes to his angle, see, I don't want to use the 45. That might be too much. So this is starboard, so this would be, yeah, that's way too much. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to mark it down to the corner and line it up just like this. I'm going to do the same thing. This is starboard. We're going to do the same thing for port. We're going to come in 1 inch. And we're going to go right down to the corner. Just like that. Make sure this is the, yep, this is the right side. Okay, so we did it right. They should line up pretty well. Trim it up a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty good. And what I want to do now is we're going to trim up the roof area just to make sure they line up. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring the walls out to right about here on either side where we marked, just like that. Alright, so now we got to think about doing the back wall. So let's get the height. That looks good. So we're going to do the width, and let's see. So this is going to go here, and let's see, starboard, we'll get that wall over here. It's going to go like this. And like we did before, I want to make sure it's flush like we did in the hull. But instead of being all the way up against the edge, we want to do it where it's a little bit, see, where the cardboard is going to be able to take. Just like that. That way there, when we put the cardboard on, so we're going to bring it just a bit more. All right, just like that. So let's let that solidify. We're going to do the same thing for the starboard side. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually put it together. Yeah. So that's looking pretty good. And then we'll bead it up. We'll bead the glue up on the edge to get it nice and clean. Alright, so that's the starboard side. So let's go ahead and think about doing the port side now. And we're going to do the same thing. glue. And now let's make sure we get it going the right way. Yeah, it's going to go right here. Just like that. You screw it off. That's going to be just about the perfect size for his wheelhouse in proportion. So that's going to be good. Just like this. You see how his face, because the wheelhouse is just a bit angled. See, and the plan is to do the same thing on the other side. See, and when this is totally hard and solid, we're going to kind of trim it down, just like we did for the stern section. So we'll do the same thing for this side. I just need this out of the way so we can do the his roof. So we can tack a little bit in place, and then what we'll do is we'll let it harden, and then we'll finish up with more. I just want to make sure that the ceiling is going to be covered on all sides. That's good. Okay, so it had some time to solidify. Let's see what I had wanted to do. We got a nice solid base in there, and it's gripping all the corners. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to trim the outside just a little bit, just to even it up. And then we're going to do exactly what we did with the stern. We're going to cut it up with a knife. See? And then we'll kind of slice it and really make it form-fitting, really bring it in. I'll do the same thing to this side. Okay, so you can see how he's coming along, and we're gonna, it's not glued down yet, but we have to get all the structures ready. And you can see this is pretty much measuring up to the way he was. So we have that little angle right in the front. We're going to have his eyes. We're going to have his nose. Well, not his nose, but his mouth. And his eyes are going to be in the windows. The windows kind of like glasses. So we can bring it up just a little bit like that. It's looking pretty good. And let me widen the camera up just a little bit. Okay, that's better. So we trim down the stern, and remember, we're gonna clean everything up nice and sharp before we paint it, but we just got to get all the structures in place. So we put the deck on. We closed in the little section on his bow. I sliced down and trimmed all of the areas around the stern, and we did the wheelhouse. So we're not going to tack it down yet. What I want to do is we're going to make the aft wheelhouse, and that's going to come out to right about there. And then the smokestack is actually going to come off the top of that. But that'll be in the next video. I wanted to get this video. We wanted to do the deck. I wanted to do the wheelhouse. And I wanted to close in the structure at his bow. So everything is nice and solid. And I hope you guys are enjoying the build. He's really starting to come together now. And in the next video, we're going to do his other boathouse at the aft end. And we're going to do the smokestack, and we're going to do his eyes and his mouth. So he's really starting to come together. So in my next video, my friends, which will be very soon, I'll talk to you guys soon.